reversing your age, also putting your body in homeostasis, activating autophagy.
This is my second time recording this because TikTok nerfed the first one. For some reason it just glitched and didn't let me publish the video, so I love that for me. But this is a classic example of using large scientific sounding words to further a point without explaining those words or actually having a base understanding of what those words mean to make you sound more intelligent. This is banking on the intended audience not having a big good understanding of what those words actually mean and just going, oh yeah, that sounds like a scientific word, it must be true. I can also use big words, hippopotamus monstrosus, quipedaliophobia, platyhelminthes, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Look, I can use big words, that means I'm right about everything, and you should take exactly what I say as at face value. So he makes a lot of claims in this video using large science words, but he does not explain what any of those words mean or why they're good things. So let's talk about what he's claiming. He's claiming that fasting during the week has a bunch of properties that'll cure everything. So starting out, he says that it'll activate your DNA. So how DNA works, it's just the base pairs which make up a gene, which tells your enzymes and stuff what protein to make. And yes, technically your DNA, that's a new one, your DNA can be turned on and off in very, very simple terms. That's not exactly how it works, but that's kind of the idea. So all of your genes are not being expressed at all of the time because genes code for proteins, and if you have enough of a certain protein, you don't need to expend energy making more of that protein when you already have enough of it. So if you have enough of protein A, the genes for protein A are regulated or being turned off because you don't want more of protein A until protein A gets depleted, and then gene for protein A gets turned on and starts making more of that. That's how genes work. So by saying fasting activates your DNA, it's just saying yeah, it'll turn your genes on, which is not necessarily accurate. So during fasting, your body uses different energy sources because it's not getting the glucose and all of that, so it turns to fats and proteins. So technically, yes, it could be activating the genes necessary to metabolize those things because it's not getting the glucose, so it could be turning on genes to metabolize fats and proteins because you need those turned on to actually use them. So technically, it could be turning on or activating certain genes, but just saying it turns on your DNA is not accurate. Second point he makes, putting your body in homeostasis, but he doesn't say your body's already in homeostasis. Obviously, there are some medical conditions where your body is not in homeostasis, which causes different symptoms and stuff, but if you are a regular healthy person, your body is already in homeostasis. Homeostasis just means that everything is staying the same, which your body basically is. There's stuff going on all the time, but overall it's basically staying the same because if it's not, shit stops working. Let's use blood pH as a very simple example. So your blood is at a specific pH. If it goes too high, that's a problem. If it goes too low, that's a problem. There are buffer systems in place to make sure your blood stays at a stable pH. So when you're healthy and your buffer systems are working, your blood stays at the same pH, it doesn't go up or down, and so it is in homeostasis. Your body does this naturally with pretty much every system because you don't want big changes because that breaks things. Obviously, there are conditions where your body is not in homeostasis, which can cause problems, but naturally, you have very good regulatory systems in place to make sure that your homeostasis is maintained. So you don't need to fast in order to establish homeostasis because naturally, you are already in it, with exceptions. Next point he makes is fasting promotes autophagy, which I can't speak to fasting specifically, but autophagy is happening naturally all the time as well. So what autophagy is, autoselfphagy ingestion, so it's basically just ingesting self cells, and that happens when a cell is old or damaged and your immune system gets rid of it because you don't want to hang around, like you don't want to have old and broken cells hanging around. So when a cell gets sick, stops functioning, whatever, your immune system is signal to that and it goes and cleans it up. And that's dealt with. That is what autophagy is, and it is happening at base levels all the time because your cells age constantly, etc., etc. Now, I have actually seen studies that fasting can increase autophagy sometime, but I haven't really looked into that, so I can't speak to whether or not that is accurate. So fasting may increase autophagy, but it is happening at base levels all the time anyway. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is just because they use big scientific words does not mean it is credible and accurate. And as well, don't get medical advice from TikTok for the love of God.